Hey everyone, this is Jackson Martin in the Department of Art and Art History at UNC Asheville with another how-to video for 3D design. In these next few videos we're going to be talking about creating forms. So we're going to create a cylindrical form in this video in case you want to make, say, a coffee mug or some sort of perfect cylinder. A cylinder without the handle, once you break it down, is actually on a flat surface is just a rectangle where the height of the mug is the width of the rectangle and the circumference of the mug, the distance around the mug, is the length of the rectangle. So I measured the height of the mug, it's 3 3/4. I'm going to start there with the width of the rectangle. But the first thing to consider is how you orient your cardboard. You want the corrugation to be in the correct orientation so that you're utilizing it for its rolling abilities. So make sure that you're working with the corrugation so that it rolls once you cut out the rectangle. So first I measured from the side in 2 places, 3 3/4 for the height of the mug. I'm going to line up my ruler on the cardboard. I can draw a line or I can just go straight to the knife. I'm going to be using my inchworm technique of inching my hand down the ruler, putting pressure as I go, making sure my fingers are not hanging over. And again, making several passes with the knife. There's no reason to bear down too hard and get through it in one pass. That's just asking for an accident. Just take your time, make sure your fingers aren't hanging over, putting downward pressure as you go. So now I've got the rectangle. I set it up to the cup. It's the exact height of the cup. So now the trick is to figure out the length of the rectangle, which is going to be the circumference of the mug. We have flexible rulers in class you guys can use. So I just wrap the flexible tape measure around the mug to determine the circumference. Or I can use the equation of the diameter of the cup times pi. So this would be 3 3/4 times 3.14. But here it's 10 1/4. But I'm gonna actually go up to 11 to leave myself room for overlap, which I'll show in a minute the reason for that. So even though the circumference is 10 1/4, I'm gonna go up to 11. So I measure over from the side again at 11 inches, and I do that on the top and bottom. And line up my ruler. Downward pressure, make sure your fingers aren't hanging over, make several passes. Now you have the mug just on a flat plane. The next step is to figure out rolling it. There's several different methods. You can simply just curl it up by hand meticulously at each bend of the corrugation, which works out just fine. It takes a while doing it that way, but my favorite technique is actually to flip it over and slowly bend it over the side of the table, because you have that nice precise edge of the table and you get a really consistent bend in the cardboard, and it's really attractive on the back side, the outside, the exterior of the bend. We also have a piece of PVC tube in the classroom that you can use as a rolling pin of sorts, and the only thing with that, as you can see in this video, is that the bends aren't as close together, and so you eventually probably will end up at the edge of the table anyway, making sure that you get a consistent bend all the way around your rectangle for the cylinder. So now that all the bends are in place, I can curl this around and start to show you guys why I measured a little bit more than the original circumference. You can see the overlap there. I left basically 3/8 of an inch overlap so that I have a place to secure it on the other side. Now what I'm going to do actually is cut away the core on both sides On this side, I'm going to cut away half of the cardboard's core on the outside. So I measure over 3/8 of an inch. Line up my ruler, get my knife, and slowly cut through there. You don't want to cut through the whole thing, so it's less pressure. You're basically cutting through that first layer of paper and some of the corrugation. You start to peel it away. In this case, the way that the corrugation lays, I can actually smash it down, and I don't have to remove the corrugation. Now, when you cut the other side, you have to be sure that you're not cutting it on the same side. So I cut the exterior edge on that one. Now I'm going to cut the interior edge on the other side. But same distance, you're going to measure over 3/8 of an inch from both sides. Line up your ruler. Make your cut, being sure again that you're not cutting through the entire piece of cardboard, but you're just cutting through that first layer of paper and maybe some of the corrugation. In this case, I'm going to remove both the paper and most of the corrugation because I smashed the corrugation on the other side. It'll make up the difference there and be exactly the same thickness as the rest of the mug. So it takes a minute sometimes to peel that away. You roll it around, and when they meet together, you can see that it's exactly the same thickness, and it should be exactly the same circumference as my mug that I'm measuring from. Now to secure this together, you're going to need tape. You can roll the tape and kind of put it on the inside, or you can put the tape on the outside, just being mindful that whatever tape shows will be a visual accent, and so trying to be mindful of not only using the tape as a fastener but also as a decorative element. So you can see some example mugs for students. Some students cover the entire mug with tape, so they don't have to worry about that stripe. This student left the stripe there, but also put bands of tape around the top and bottom. Now that's the method of securing your cylinder, but as you can see, it doesn't have a very nice round shape to it. So to get that nice and round, you have to cut a circle with the same diameter as your mug, maybe slightly smaller, and wedge it into your cylinder to kind of force the edge out and to force that perfect circular shape that you're looking for, usually on the top and the bottom. Yeah, and that's how you cut a cylinder for a mug shape or another glass type shape.